Hi, I'm Jim.
And I'm Victoria.
And this is the Criminal Crack.
How do we make it sound Christmassy?
Ho, ho, ho. We see the criminals running away.
Jingle, jingle, jingle.
It's episode 17. It's a Christmas episode. It's not 17, is it? I'm pretty sure it's 17.
I think can we just stop counting now, because I've lost count.
How do you lose count at 17?
Well, because we can only count to potato, remember?
Potato! Speaking of potato, I noticed the CEO is heavy breathing next to me.
Yeah, you love it, really.
I love her. I don't love... Although I do think I was a bit heavy breathing last week, so maybe I'll just blame her.
Hefty breathing.
Hey, do you want to know the good news?
Is there bad news?
Yeah, but I don't have any for you.
Oh, that's okay then. Yeah,
Some
just
news
tell me
is
the
bad.
good news.
This is a two-parter.
Ooh!
So I didn't decide, I just went deep dive,
Head first
into this case, and it's too big for one episode.
That's what she said.
Boom, cha. Don't know what that end bit was. It was gonna be too big for one episode, and then I thought we'll get a second episode out of it. But I'm just gonna tell you that I can't guarantee how long the second episode's gonna be. It'll be like a decent length.
But you're gonna wrap it up in a second episode, and it's a Christmas episode, and you're gonna wrap it up. Wink. She hates me.
I'm so embarrassed right now. So it's a two-parter, I thought, and what I'm going to do is, so that we don't interrupt our regular scheduling, episode 1's out today, obviously, part 1.
Because you are listening. This
You
is
are
you
listening.
actively.
And episode 2 is going to come out on next Sunday.
So you get a
which will be the
Brucey bonus
21st.
in-betweeny
Yeah.
episode.
But if I can get it up earlier, I will, but I have too lots of editing. I don't have a penis, so that doesn't mean anything, you gimp. Oh. Gype.
Don't tell people my secrets.
And I've been sitting in your house for a while now. I'm dolled up today.
She looks very beautiful today.
Thank you.
She's done her hair.
Check out Instagram.
And she's got her tatty bojangles out, sort of.
Oh, the girls are always out.
Well, that's true.
So we get things for free. And but I've not got my glasses on, and I wanted you to comment on it and ask me why I don't have my glasses on.
I just assumed it was for the look, but have you had laser surgery in the last week?
No, I lost my glasses on a dog walk this morning.
Bugger. Oh, so you're actually blind?
No, I've got my contact lenses in.
Oh, okay.
But I was on a walk, and I was trying to retell it before. I don't know what happened. I just know that it was raining, and I do often take my glasses off when it's raining, but I thought I'd put them in a pocket, and they're nowhere to be seen, and I've checked the pockets over and over again.
See, I lose my glasses all the time because I wear glasses in the evening. I take my lenses
I
out,
lose them all the time in
my
the house.
glasses. But when I wake up in the morning, I go, where are my glasses? But because I can't see in the morning,
Exactly.
I can't find my glasses.
Which is why I couldn't find my glasses while I was out. I retraced my steps, but I thought I can't see anything. Because remember last month I saw the man with 3 dogs, and it turned out 2 were bins and 2 were telegraph poles.
And that would be 4, not 3. But anyway.
No, the man had 3 dogs. That's 4.
You said 2 were bins and 2 were telegraph poles.
2 of the dogs were bins. One
and 2
was a
of the other
telegraph pole,
blobs.
and the other blob
Right.
was a man.
With
And I was
you.
getting really annoyed at them because I was like, why are they just standing there staring? But I've lost my glasses.
Great. You'll find them.
That's how my day's been.
Have you checked your butthole?
Yep. Not in there.
Damn it.
Not in
Your
there.
prison wallet.
Yuck. How are you?
I'm okay, thanks. My little boy turned 18 this week.
He did.
And it's, I don't know, happy sad. Happy sad. Yeah, I can hear George snoring. Sorry. Potato, stop snoring. Yeah, no, it was nice. We went out. I took him out for his first legal drink. So we went to
You're not supposed to say legal like he's had before. You're supposed to say, I took him out for his first legal drink.
I took him out for his first legal drink. And I had a little baby Guinness, which was nice. And
Oh, I like a baby Guinness. I hate real Guinness.
oh no, it was actually Guinness, just a half.
No, a baby Guinness is a shooter.
What is that?
Like in a shot glass, and it's Kahlua, Baileys, and something else, I think.
I want one of them now.
They're way better than that.
Oh no,
rubbish
I
you
love
had.
Guinness. And Dad went with us, so it was my dad, my brother, Theo, and myself.
I wasn't invited.
And you were not invited, you just weren't here.
That's not a thing, but okay.
Anyway, we went to this little bar and Dad had a whiskey, and we realised actually that my dad has never bought my brother a drink. Like, because my dad didn't drink for years because of the medication he was on.
What a stingy old man.
I just wanted to
He's
give
so
you some...
miserable. I hope he hears this, you misery.
Give you some ammo for again.
Where did you go?
I don't know. Is it called the Gordon Arms?
In Pockebers?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's where we went, and it was lovely. It was great, and Theo got asked for ID, which was wonderful.
Was he
Because you should on your 18th birthday get asked for ID, so that was lovely. And then as we were leaving, some old geezer asked me if I was in the Foreign Legion.
Oh, yeah, I meant to ask you about this. What?
I had a beret on. You know, I like my berets. And it had a pin on it with little lovebirds, little silver lovebirds. And he was like, oh, there's a pin. Except it wasn't like old man English, it was old man Scottish. Oh, there's a pin. I can't do it.
Oh, lassie, you've got a pin on your hat.
I get in the Foreign Legion. And I was like,
No.
Sideways head bob. So, no, I'm not in the Foreign Legion.
Then he probably thought you were not in the Foreign Legion, but you were foreign, because you're like, I don't understand. Every bloody episode. If she's offended you, I'm sorry. I've tried to stop her. It doesn't work.
Sorry. Okay.
So can you believe that we're only 10 days now from Christmas Eve? She's looking at me like I'm nuts because we're not recording this live.
No, it's not that. I'm not ready.
But you've got time.
I'll be
It's
ready
okay.
by next Christmas Eve.
No, you won't.
No, I won't.
You're never ready.
Are you ready?
Kind of. I mean, I've got quite a lot of stuff I've got ready. I just need to wrap. But I've been over ambitious with some of the things that I want to make.
Well, that's because you make a lot of presents and you're crafty, whereas I just have to use my imagination and buy things, and that's hard.
Pretty sure using your imagination to buy something is harder than... It's not as hard as using your imagination to make something,
No, I
but
know.
okay.
I was kidding. No.
Use your imagination.
You must have to start in February.
Well, I planned to start early, and then it's like 2 weeks before.
But my present you've been doing since the year before, haven't you?
Yeah, but you're not getting that this Christmas. I made you something different.
Oh.
I told you this. I said it won't
I
be
think
ready
you
by
did
this
tell me
Christmas
this.
because I put my neck out.
Oh, yeah.
I lost valuable crochet time.
Was that because of naughty sexual positions that you were doing that you cricked your neck?
I really wish it was.
Ah.
But it was old age, I think. Although I once
Old
had...
age?
Yeah.
You're the same age as me.
You're old. I once really hurt my arm. I thought I'd broke it, and that was from sex in the shower, and it felt very similar to that.
Ah.
I once got hit in the head by an iron during sex as well.
An iron? Was it switched on? Were you doing the ironing and no?
No, it was just at the side. I'm the sort of person that when I'm getting ready, my room can go from... This was back in the day when I had my own flat. My room could go from like totally clean to everything's out everywhere. So I'd gone out. In fact, I'd had a party at the house, and then we'd all gone out, and I came back blazing. I had a new boyfriend, got a bit raucous, and I got hit in the head by... So during some amorous time, I... hit the ironing board that was beside the bed, and the iron hit me on the head, and it put my neck out. I ended up 2 days later I was in an ambulance because I couldn't move my neck.
During the wooing.
There was no wooing.
Woo.
It was bound chicka wow wow.
Woo!
Is that what you do?
No, I wouldn't remember.
Weird. Shall we get crack-a-lacking with
Let's
this?
get crack-a-lacking.
Because...
So Jem, what's the crack?
Well, as I said before, since we're only 10 days away from Christmas Eve, I thought I would try and find a Christmas case. And I think I said it in the last episode as well. I had a look, and there's just some really horrific things that have happened over the world at Christmas time. And I was trying to find something that wasn't too bad, and I couldn't. So this case is... I mean, it's true crime, so it's not nice, it's not cheerful. There's nothing nice about it, but it does have a resolution.
And a Christmas theme.
And a Christmas theme.
Okay.
But it's probably still going to bum everybody out.
Oh. Well,
I'm not sure I care.
They're here for the crack. They're here for the criminal crack, so...
They are.
They're in the wrong place if they're hoping for a story about a happy elf.
I do have a happy story, or a cool story about John Malkovich that I heard online the other day.
Okay.
Will I quickly tell you that?
Yeah.
So I think this took place in France, but I might be wrong. There was this old couple. I got this from Mr. Ballin. Do you watch Mr. Ballin?
No.
He's a crime podcaster, but he does little reels. And I saw it on there. And basically what happened was there was this elderly couple visiting somewhere. I think it might have been France, but visiting somewhere. And they were making their way back to their hotel, and there was scaffolding up at their hotel. And I shouldn't have told you who was in this story to begin with, but never mind, I've ruined it a little bit. They were walking towards the door, and the old man tripped and he fell on a piece of scaffold and went straight into his neck. And he just started like pouring of blood everywhere. The wife's like, oh my god, and she's like screaming for help, and two guys run over. One of the guys gets down on the floor, takes off his scarf, wraps his scarf around the guy's neck, and he's putting pressure on it, and he's saying to the guy, calm down, it's okay, you're going to be fine. We've like, this is going to help, you're going to totally be fine. The other guy's phoning 911. So, it was America, not France. So then the paramedics turn up and they're like, oh, if you hadn't done this, like, he would have bled out in seconds. So he gets taken in the ambulance, and then they say to the woman, you can get in the ambulance too. And she's like, oh, okay. And then she's getting in and she turns around to the guy who had the scarf. He's no longer got his scarf. And she says, oh, what's your name? And he goes, oh, I'm John. And she was like, thank you so much. And then they go to hospital and everything like that. Husband gets stitched up, and it's not long before he's okay. And then they decide that they want to find the two people that helped them. So they managed to find the guy who phoned 911. He was the bar owner at the bar they'd been in just before all this happened. And they said, oh, do you know John? He said his name was John. And the guy's like, looks at them with like, laughs, and he's like, well, I'm not a friend of his or anything like that. That was the first time I'd ever seen him. But yeah, that's John Malkovich has saved this guy's life. Which I thought was amazing. So
That's very cool.
That's something cool. And
but imagine not knowing who John Malkovich is.
I don't think I would know him out in the street.
Really?
Plus, if you're in a panic.
Cyrus the virus.
I've not watched anything with John Malkovich in. Oh, being John Malkovich, I have.
Have you not watched Alive?
No, because I know I've read up on the true story. Is that the one about the plane crash?
Yeah, and you've never seen Con Air?
I have. Oh, he is in Con Air. No, but you're not letting me tell you. It's my mission this year to watch everything with John Malkovich.
Oh, yeah, do it. He's fantastic.
A hero.
Yeah, he's very funny as well when he does comedy. Very funny. Yeah, like him a lot.
Awesome. So there's your little bit of joy. So today we begin on the afternoon of the 19th of December. Christmas was fast approaching as couples from the church local to the town of Ethel,
I love that,
gathered outside the cosy home shared by the Maurins, Ed and Wilhelmina, who was fondly known as Minnie, on their 120-acre Christmas tree farm.
Yay.
They were there for their annual festive potluck.
Is that where everyone brings like a
Everybody
dish,
brings a dish, yeah. So you don't know what you're getting.
We don't do that in the UK, really,
do
we?
Idea.
That's a brilliant idea.
Their house was in a rural area on Highway 12 near Ethel, but not exactly in Ethel. So we're in America.
On the outskirts of Ethel.
Well, sort of like you've got a town and then you've got a couple of houses out the way.
Yeah.
Looking at a map, you may actually struggle to find Ethel. I've said Ethel about 20 times, let alone to the Maurins' homestead.
Hold on. If you're getting festive, take a shot every time Gemma says Ethel.
Oh, you'll end up like me on my Baileys. Except I manage like 3 Baileys. I don't drink much. And we all know why. So looking at a map, you might struggle to find Ethel. Shot. Let alone the Maurins' homestead, which was in a secluded area about 80 miles southeast of Schehalley. Ethel is merely to pinpoint the area for you should you wish to go and look. I know some people are like me, and when you hear a podcast, you go and check things out. So it's just to try and give you an idea.
Yeah, sometimes I like a visual as well. Even when I'm like researching it, I'll go, especially map wise.
Yeah.
I don't know why. It gives me a feel for it.
No, I like that. I can get a better picture, and it's easier when you're writing. You can be a little bit more descriptive. So this is in Lewis County in Washington. On previous years, guests had found the doors and curtains of the home open, a stunning tree in the lounge window, Christmas tree sellers, and the couple waiting with open arms to welcome them in from the cold for an afternoon of celebrations. But on this year, 1985, things were different, very different. The home was locked down, curtains were drawn on every window, and Ed and Minnie were nowhere to be seen.
But they'd been expecting people for their potluck.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
The town of Ethel is in East Lewis County, Washington. It's a small community situated on Route 12. Route 12 goes right through the middle. It was originally known as Lacamas, after the creek running through the middle of the town, but it was renamed by William F. Villis, the Postmaster General, in 1886. He felt that too many towns in Washington state came from native tribe names, and instead chose Ethel, though he never explained his reason for the choice. Now, I happen to think it's super cute, but saying that, I don't think the names should have been changed, and I know this is quite political, so come at me if you want. But as the area along the Schehalley River was inhabited by the Schehalley and Meshel tribes, I feel like it should have stayed as it was. It feels a bit mean to change it.
Yeah.
If you want to comment on that, feel free, but be polite, otherwise you'll get booted. We can have differences of opinion. Minnie was born...
Gemma's is always right.
Oh, yeah, obviously. Minnie was born Maria Wilhelmina Kurps as the 9th of 14 children to parents John and Elizabeth Kurps in a small village in Adams County, Nebraska. She was a Christmas Day baby in 1901, and at the time of her birth, Minnie's hometown, Roseland, which was named after the wild roses covering its full 0.27 square miles, it was tiny, had a population of 227 people, with the Kurps family making up quite a large percentage of that figure.
I love that she was born on Christmas Day and went on to own a Christmas tree farm.
I know!
She was just Miss Christmas.
She was Mrs. Claus.
Aww.
The Christmas couple. That's what I'm calling this episode. She was the younger sister of Elizabeth Margaretha, Nicola, John Theodore, Mary Juliana, Elizabeth Anna, Jacob, Catherine and Josephine, and the elder sister of Anna Marie, Joseph John, Mary Anna, Gertrude, Barbara and John Anthony.
Massive family.
Massive. Quite common at that time, I think.
I'm quite jealous of big families, you know.
I would like to have had, like, siblings. I've got step-siblings and halves and stuff. Now, you might have noticed, did you notice, that some of our siblings had the same first names? I think this is probably due to the tradition that some people have of using family names for their children, but then they go by their middle names.
Yeah,
so say...
in America they do, like, the second and third and junior and senior and stuff like that. Don't they? Yeah.
So Minnie, whose Christian name was actually Maria, went by Mary, Wilhelmina and Winnie at various points of her life, as well as Minnie. The CEO's not coming in. I couldn't find out much about the Kurps family, but I do know they were close. So close, in fact, that when Minnie married her first husband, Aloysius, or Louis, George Hallader, on May the 21st, 1923, she was joined by her sister, Elizabeth, in a double celebration. But she happened to be marrying Matthias, also known as Matthew Hadler, Aloysius's brother. So they had a joint wedding, sisters marrying brothers. And in a wild turn of events, by 1930, another 3 of the Hadler brothers had married another 3 of the Kurps sisters.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I know. And all 5 couples had made their way to Lewis County, where the Hadlers were from, and settled into the farming life.
And they were all from this small, teeny dot on the map.
So the
Originally.
Hadlers were Lewis County, whereas the Kurps were Nebraska.
Right, okay.
So I don't know how it came together. Maybe family friends, I don't really know, but it made the paper.
I'm not surprised.
I might, if I can find
it's like
the
7
pictures.
brides for 7 brothers or something.
Well, the article's 5 brides for 5 brothers or something
there we
like
go.
that. Following the original double nuptials, Minnie and Aloysius moved to the town of Onalaska, Lewis County, Washington, and began their married life. Minnie took to the role as a homemaker, spending her time making their farmhouse nice and homely, while Aloysius was making a living as a farmer and rancher. And it wasn't long before they began trying to fill their home with children. Sadly, their journey to achieving this was not always a happy one. On the 27th of March 1925, their first baby, a son, arrived. Heartbreakingly, baby Joseph Ellsworth Hadler passed away after only 5 days with his parents by his side on the 1st of April 1925. The following year, the Hadlers found themselves expecting again, and I'm not sure if they knew this given the time period, but their next arrival was to be twins. So they wouldn't have had scans and things. I know they did x-rays at some point, but...
What year are we in here?
We are in 1926 now.
I don't think they would have even done that.
I don't think so either, but it does crack me up that if you ever been with Theo when he was little to get an x-ray and you're in the room and they say, are you pregnant or anything? And you're like, no. And they're like, okay, that's fine, just put this lead thing on. You think, but you did it to pregnant women?
I know. Yeah. Oh.
I wonder why infant mortality was high.
I wonder, they could have known from the size or the wiggliness, but I doubt it.
The wiggliness. Gilbert and Delbert Hadler were born on the 24th of June 1926. This joy would soon be marred when Gilbert passed away at only 4.5 months old.
Oh.
But if it makes you feel any better, Delbert lived until just before his 81st birthday.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, but they didn't have much luck.
But he was called Delbert though. Oh.
I've never heard that name before. I've heard Dilbert, because that's a little office character, isn't it?
Okay.
Dilbert. Yeah, I think so. Wait, 2 more children joined the family. First, John Dennis in October 1927, and then the only girl, Hazel Blanche, in February 1930. I did find a source that stated that in 1934 another boy was born called Dale, but I couldn't find it anywhere else, so I don't know if that's true or not.
Okay.
For a time, things went smoothly for the Hadlers. as smoothly as family life could be for families in the 1930s and 40s. Minnie worked hard bringing up her children, tending her home and looking after Aloysius, who spent most of his time out working hard on the farm. The years went by and the children grew. Some of them even left the family home when tragedy struck again in the 1950s when Aloysius sadly passed away after a battle with cancer. Isn't that horrible? You work hard all your life.
Aloysius, what a name.
It's brilliant, isn't it? I like saying it, Aloysius. Edward Maurin, known to all as Ed, was born the 11th of June 1904 in Schehalley, Lewis County, to parents John Paul and Anna Marie Maurin, and he stayed in the same area all his life. I could find very little out about him except that he looked after his mother until she passed away in her 90s. So he was a good guy. At some point, Ed and Minnie crossed paths and fell in love before deciding to blend their families and getting married in Winlock on the 13th of May 1961, when Ed was 57 and Minnie was 60.
Oh, wow, okay.
There's pictures. I'm going to put pictures up of them. They just looked so loved up.
That's really
a lovely
sweet,
couple.
isn't it?
Together, they made a home and built their Christmas tree business.
It's never too late, people.
It's not. In a secluded spot close to Ethel. The Maurins... Pardon?
Shot.
Yeah, shot. The Maurins were a well-loved couple in the area, known by many as the Christmas tree people. Described as friendly, reliable and welcoming, they were the kind of people who loved to help out others and spend time in the company of others as well, hence the early potluck afternoon. So, when they weren't there to welcome their guests on the 19th of December 1985, it was already worrying. But when guests realised Ed Maurin's green 1969 Chrysler Newport, amazing car, I've looked it up, wasn't there either, it was a giant red flag. I love old cars.
So do I.
I'll show you pictures.
They had so much character, didn't they?
And they lasted.
Yeah.
Ours don't.
No.
Oh God, I'm scared I've jinxed myself.
Oh, no, not again.
Now, we're about to get into the horrible parts, so...
This is the thing, you make me smile with all this nostalgia and going over it and going la la la, family, la la la, and then I know it's about to be doomed completely.
And I know, and it's all done on purpose, as you know.
I know.
But it's because I do believe that when we're telling these cases, I want to make the victims as real as possible to people.
I always wish there was more when I can't find out enough information, and I know that it's the family's prerogative to not share, and that's fine, and they get to hold that information because it was their family member, but it would, I don't know, I just feel like sometimes I want to really know these people and know what they were like in life rather than in death, so...
It's awful, isn't it?
Yeah.
Now, just so you know, a lot of the details I'm about to cover did not come out till a lot later, but I've decided to share them with you as we go, because I've got the information, and because I feel like it gives the fullest picture possible. And I'm also using poetic licence at points, but all the information comes from reputable sources, which I will share, so nobody's allowed to sue me. Not for that, anyway. Straight away, calls were made to family and friends as guests started walking the area and phoning others to find out if anyone had seen the Maurins. One of the guests made a call to Shirley Hadler, the wife of Minnie's son Dennis, alerting her to what they had found when they arrived for food. Shirley knew that Ed and Minnie would never duck out on plans with no warning, and so she drove over to the home herself. Finding the car missing and the home all locked up, she then called Hazel Oberg, Minnie's daughter, and asked her to come over. So while Shirley waited for her sister-in-law, the guests and other friends and family just continued to search the area. As soon as Hazel arrived, she and Shirley unlocked the door of Minnie and Ed's home and with some trepidation walked inside. Every room was dark, all window coverings were drawn, and the air around them felt unusually still and quiet, almost devoid of life. Looking around, they found a shoebox upended. The bank statements from it left out for anyone to see, and curiously, your word, they also saw Minnie's purse tucked away, seemingly pushed behind the sofa. Both women realised that something was wrong as Minnie always took her purse out with her. It wasn't in her nature to go without it. With searchers unable to find any clues as to what had happened and the findings of Hazel and Shirley, the two women decided enough was enough and made a call to the Lewis County Sheriff's Office at approximately 6 p.m. that evening. When Under Sheriff Randy Hamilton and other law enforcement entered the residence, they confirmed that the Maurins were nowhere to be found and it was clear that something untoward had happened. Speaking to those at the scene, they established that the way the house was found inside, initially, locked up and in complete darkness, was at odds with how the Maurins would usually leave their home. They felt they were potentially looking at somewhere foul play had occurred and that they were looking at a crime scene.
And obviously that was evidence of a disturbance with the box upended and stuff, isn't it? So that's, even though that's only a small thing.
I don't know if there was more. I don't know if it looked like the place had been rifled through more. I wasn't able to establish that, but yeah, that was
somebody looking for money or something, maybe.
Yeah. When Minnie's son and Shirley's husband, Dennis Hadler, arrived, he also told the police that the way the home had been left was not normal. Not only that, he said it was in complete contrast to how the home had looked at around 5:30am that morning. In those early hours, Dennis had been on the road nearby to pick up his son Michael for work and had noticed lights on in the home. Now, he'd found this strange in itself because his mother and stepfather were not particularly early risers. They were in their 80s. But he admitted, despite this, neither he nor Michael got the feeling that anything was amiss, because why would they? They knew about the impending potluck, so maybe they figured that the couple were just up getting prepared. Further investigating would support the Hadlers' statements, as when word got out that the couple were missing, while locals rallied around to help, more witnesses then commented on the strangeness of the lights being on in the wee small hours too. Information began to come in thick and fast, with eyewitnesses making claims of suspicious people and behaviours. Nonna Pierce, Nonna. I've never heard that name before. I've heard Nonna for Nana.
Yeah.
Nonna Pierce, one of the Maurins' neighbours, contacted the Sheriff's Department. She was worried after hearing that Ed and Minnie were missing and recalled seeing an unfamiliar car near the end of their driveway that morning, and she wondered if her friends had maybe needed help when it pulled up in front of their home. However, she told Hamilton, when she heard them all talking together, she figured that everything was alright and just went about her day. Another tip came in from log driver Lindsay Centre. In his statement, he shared that between 8 and 9am on the 19th, he saw two men that he felt police needed to know about. In between the Maurins and Harms Road, so Maurin's home and Harms Road, which I'll show on a map, he saw the men walking westbound. He found it strange as they were carrying something that looked to be hidden under a white cloth. It was about 3 foot long, and Centre thought it was possibly a rifle. More than one call also came in to say that Ed's car had been seen driving around the local area.
I think I have seen something about this case before.
I saw it years ago, I think, on Unsolved Mysteries.
In a supermarket car park or something, is that?
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember the green car now. I won't tell anymore. I don't remember it specifically. I just had a
this one has always stuck
when
with
the
me.
photograph sort of goes in your head. Yeah.
They all said that they saw Ed in the front of the car and Minnie in the back, but Ed wasn't driving. Two men were in the car with them, one at the wheel and one beside Minnie. Of the two men, one was described as younger than the other, with a close-cut beard and wearing a green army-style jacket and a stocking hat, which is, I think, what we would call a beanie over here. You know, like a ribbed, knitted hat.
Do you think, or not an actual stocking over the face?
No, it's not a stocking, it's a stocking hat.
Okay.
Yeah, I looked it up.
Okay.
That's how it describes it. Jason Shriver was a Lewis County resident, just a young boy from a nearby town called Mossy Rock. He was on Highway 12 with his mother at around 9am on December the 19th when he saw a green Chrysler Newport almost crawling along the highway. He also saw an older couple in the vehicle accompanied by two men. Now, he recognised the two men he saw with the Maurins, but at this time in December 1985, he, like many others, would not go on record to ID them due to the fear of what would happen if they did. Now, this is a common theme in the case, just to let you know. We later find out that the men in the car had also seen Jason that morning and had threatened him that if he told anyone, they would kill him and his mother, and he was only young at the time.
Did you say he was 15?
No, I didn't have an age.
Oh, right.
Deputy William Forth also saw the vehicle that morning while sitting at the intersection of Bunker Creek Road and Highway 6, and his reporting was a carbon copy of Shriver's, though he was able to name the men he saw. As I've already alluded to, these names came up more than once. Deputy Forth saw Mossy Rock local Rick Rife driving the vehicle with his brother John, also known as Greg, bizarrely, behind him. Now, the fact that he knew them by name tells you that these two were obviously known to the authorities. The initial investigations into the couple's disappearance pointed to the idea that this was a case of abduction to aid in robbery, the bank statement and the car being missing being the main indicators. Despite the Rife brothers being seen by an officer in the car, it seems that police still felt the couple would return home safely. Now, I don't know if the Rife brothers had violent offences on their records, but I'm thinking maybe they didn't. But just so you know, 2 years after the disappearance of the Maurins, the brothers disappeared too. And family were adamant they had no idea where the men had gone. For a time, family and friends tried to stay optimistic about this being the case, but this feeling was unfortunately fleeting. I do commend Hamilton and his department as they jumped into action as soon as they saw the scene at the Maurins' home and got the ball rolling on the investigation straight away. Part of this involved looking into the couple, as it's normal in missing person cases. They always need to see if there's anything that would make someone choose to leave, but nothing in the Maurins' history led them to believe they'd chosen to run for any reason.
That victimology, isn't it, when they look into the background? Also, I was thinking, in a small town, I can understand why they thought maybe they'll still return, and maybe it was just more of a robbery in a small town, because two guys from that town wouldn't assume that they're gonna get away with something bigger. I don't know.
Yeah. The Maurins were a wealthy couple who had a lot of money but lived a modest lifestyle, focusing on people, not money, and everything they had was earned in a legitimate way. The police did, however, begin to wonder if someone in the local area, either known to the couple or not, may be involved. From following up leads and talking to locals, they focused on finding out Ed and Minnie's last known movements and used them to create the following hypothesis of what they felt happened that December day. Patricia Hull was an employee at the Shahali branch of the Sterling Savings Association, and when she arrived in work on Thursday the 19th of December, I'm betting she thought it would be just like any other day in the run-up to Christmas. Busy, but nothing she and her colleagues couldn't handle. Answering the branch phone at around 9:30am, she found herself talking to a customer, Edward Maurin. He was calling ahead to explain that he wanted to come in and withdraw a large amount of money as he was planning to go and buy a new car the same day. This would later be disputed by family members who said that Ed was more than happy with his car and had no intentions of looking for a new one. I think it was like 16 years old and it still ran like a dream.
Yeah, built to last.
Yeah.
Tanks.
Hearing that he was looking to withdraw $8,500 in cash, Patricia tried to talk him into taking the money as a cheque instead, as she was worried about him having that amount of paper money on him. Remember, he was in his 80s. She didn't feel it was safe and wanted to reduce the risk with her alternative. However, Ed's mind wasn't for changing and he stood his ground, politely of course, telling her he'd prefer the cash. Patricia said she would of course arrange this and asked Ed to arrive a little later in the morning and she would see to him then. As per the agreement, Ed walked through the doors of the Sterling Savings Association about an hour later and was greeted by Patricia. She asked him to take a seat in the foyer as the money was not ready yet. She explained to him that this branch was not able to cover such a large amount in cash themselves, but a colleague was on their way back from another branch with the outstanding amount. So they had some, but not all of it.
And also it was a really large amount then.
It soon arrived, and after the transaction was completed, Ed made his goodbyes and thanks and left. Early the following morning, at around 7:30am, Friday the 20th, the Maurins' car was found, and the hopes of a safe return were shattered for everyone. Law enforcement rapidly made their way to the car park of the Yardbirds store in Shahali after numerous residents of the area called in to say they'd seen the car parked there, with some including that they had also seen a suspicious man or men hanging around it. So quickly, for those outside the US like us, Yardbirds appears to be a chain of stores that Victoria and I would love. It seems like it sort of started as a surplus store, and there was word online that part of it was a thrift store as well, and it later became like a massive B&M.
Okay.
So it had loads and loads of like different departments. As I say, it was a chain. It housed the biggest toy shop for miles in the late 1940s. By 1971, it sold all sorts of stuff. You can have a look on the website. I'll put it up as a reference. And it had a 60-foot sculpture of a Yardbird in its car park. It's amazing. It is massive.
Have you seen a picture?
Yeah. It's, I've put here, it just sounds like some kind of heaven. And a Yardbird's like, and I'm trying to think what cartoon it was or what movie it was, but it's like the black birds that look like crows. Remember they had like hats on and they were gangsters. I'm sure it's a Disney movie. Is that Dumbo?
Yeah.
That's what it looks like.
Superfly. Yeah.
Do you remember we had the whale in Forest? There was a guy that tried to cross the North Sea or something in a giant whale that he'd built, and it used to sit where Aldi is or Lidl is now in Forest. It was ace.
Did you sniff some Pritt stick?
No, did you not sniff the Pritt stick? So that's Yardbirds.
Okay.
Friends Sherry Amell and Mary Jones shared that they had been at Yardbirds and had seen the Maurins' car on the evening of the 19th in the Yardbirds lot. They both said that they saw two men close to the car and described them to police. To aid in the investigation, these women and other witnesses were driven to Portland to meet with a forensic artist where a composite sketch was created to be distributed around the area. Gordon Campbell had a similar tip. Firstly, he saw two men wiping down a green Chrysler Newport, and then 45 minutes later he saw one of them walking towards a nearby mall call from the Yardbird's location. He described him as wearing a green coat, a tight-knit cap, and he thought he appeared to have a rifle in his hand, but he couldn't be completely sure as it was covered in either a white cloth or towel.
There we go.
True to these calls, police found it parked up in a space in the northeast corner of the store parking lot. Straight away it was clear that this was a second crime scene. Though the public were not made aware of these details till much, much later, the state of the car was gruesome and very telling and pointed to events that unfortunately did not bode well for the Maurins. The likeliness of them being brought home alive sadly beginning to diminish.
Was there blood in
Please.
the car then?
We're getting there.
Okay.
When detectives Richard Harrington and Glade Austin and Washington State Patrol crime scene technician Frank Bennett responded to the call, they were faced with a car that looked like it had been the location of a massacre. It was clear to see there'd been a struggle, and to say this was a bloody scene doesn't even touch on what the investigators were faced with that morning. Not only were the front seats completely covered in blood, but the sheer volume of it also saw dark red liquid seeping out the door gaps and trickling down the passenger door onto the concrete below. Bullets had penetrated the dashboard, leaving it covered in holes, but the Maurins were still nowhere to be seen. Wherever they weren't in good condition, and whoever had taken them had clearly done it for the money that Ed took out that morning. Inspector Roger Eli had the task of figuring out more about the car while the search continued for the couple in vain. While their friends and family prayed for news over the next 5 days, the police continued working hard, processing leads and questioning witnesses when they received a phone call on Christmas Eve that would break the hearts of many. 2 bodies had been found by a logger who was driving through an area known as Adna, about 21 miles away from Ethel and 5 miles from where the car had been found. The bodies had been dragged from the car and callously discarded in a wooded area approximately 200 yards from the end of a place called Stearns Hill Road. It was out in the middle of nowhere. Now, I know this would be awful no matter the time of year, but knowing that this couple in their 80s just loved Christmas and loved being with people that matter to them most in the world just makes it feel more heartless that this was done to them.
It's horrendous, isn't it?
And they must have been absolutely petrified. And I wonder if they were told, if
they've
you give us
obviously-
the money, you'll be fine.
Probably, but they've obviously planned it towards Christmas because obviously Christmas tree sellers are going to have
More money in the house.
more money. But
Or
also,
more
I'm
money,
just
yeah.
thinking because it's horrendous. One of them must have gone before the other as well, and that's just
Well, not necessarily.
it's horrid.
We know they were dragged out of the car due to... This is a horrible bit. We know they were dragged out of their car due to the state of their clothes when they were found. Ed, well, he was lying in the dirt of the forest floor in a shirt, jacket and pants. While his poor wife, the woman he had found so late in life, Minnie, she was clad only in her dressing gown. How could anyone do this to an elderly couple, especially one who hadn't been allowed to get dressed the morning a monster found them?
So they'd literally disturbed their sleep, hadn't they? And
I think
he
had to get dressed to go to the bank. I think they probably thought the cash was in the house. So these people probably thought when they went in they would get the money and that would be it.
Ugh.
Being in our nightwear though only adds to the vulnerability, in my opinion. It adds a whole new level to this case, I think, as it shows the utter disregard and disrespect the people who killed this lovely couple had for their victims. And honestly, most elderly people I've ever met would never even consider leaving the house without being properly dressed, even to go to the washing line. It makes me think Granny and Granda Whitehair were always so nicely dressed. Like, if we went out for coffee with them, Grandad would have a shirt and tie on.
Yeah. Oh, silly bird.
Oh, another one into the window. On Christmas Eve of 1985, this case became a murder investigation. The couple were laid to rest at St. Francis Xavier Cemetery in Toledo, Lewis County. The area the couple were found was processed as quickly as was possible, with the bodies in situ, and then they were taken to the former state medical examiner, Dr. William Brady of Portland, so he could perform their autopsies that same night. While this was going on, the car was also being processed, and at some point the couple had to be identified, although the police were fairly certain it was the Maurins that had been found. Once the autopsies were done and causes of death were established, County Coroner Terry Wilson was able to share with the public that both had been shot to death, but refused to share the type of gun and ammunition at the time and any further details from the autopsies. But I can tell you from the reports now that the evidence in the car, such as the location and position of bullet holes, showed that Ed and Minnie were most likely forced into the front seats of their car. I'd imagine one perp sat in the back of the car with a weapon pointed at them, while another, also with a firearm pointed at the terrified pair, made them climb into the front seats. They were then murdered by their abductors, who were probably sitting in the back seat as they shot them in the back, both of them at the same time.
I suppose that's... like, it made me sad to think that one went before the other. So at least, I mean, that's not, that's still.
I mean, it wasn't
bloody awful,
a choice that the abductors made to let them die together. They were just a pair of cowards.
Yeah, it's.
The weapon used was a sawn-off 12-gauge shotgun loaded with a double aught, O-U-G-H-T, buckshot. The amount of blood and bullet holes in the car can be explained due to this type of ammunition. Now, I'm not a gun user, so if I've misunderstood any of this, please feel free to let me know. But as I understand it, buckshot is the type of ammunition that is used in shotguns mainly for hunting large prey or as a means of self-defence, and the damage it does really is brutal. Cartridges... Yeah, I'm about to explain it.
Right.
Cartridges or shell casings are basically used to encase multiple pellets made from lead balls, and these pellets come in many sizes and are scaled by size, so the value of the scale is called aughts. In this case, the size was recorded as... Now, I don't know if you say 00 aughts or 00 aughts, I don't know, but it's one of the most common sizes used. The reason they cause so much damage is because, unlike a singular bullet, when they're shot, loads come out in one go and spread out to take down larger prey, because if you try to shoot like a deer, for example, in the head, you've got more option there. By using a buckshot at close quarters, the perps left the Maurins with little to no chance of survival, as they would have bled out incredibly quickly. This is why the blood was plentiful and the dashboard was riddled. So,
and using that weapon and ammunition, was it their intention to
kill? It wasn't to incapacitate, not at that close.
But I mean, were they just using what they had to hand because of the kind of area it was, and were they hunters?
Well, you're not going to find that out till part 2, unfortunately. What I can tell you is police believe that from their home the abductors had forced the couple into their car before taking them to Sterling Savings Association in Shahali. Holding poor Minnie in the car, they waited for Ed to return with the money. They then drove the couple to Stearns Hill Road, where they shot them in the car in the back, as I said, dragged them out and left them there. With a plethora of tips, the crime scene evidence and the composite sketch, you might think that this case was well on its way to being solved and the culprits brought to justice, but unfortunately you'd be wrong. It would be a long time before this happened. In the aftermath of what would have been an awful Christmas for everyone involved in the case, it basically began to stall. And despite the Maurins' family and friends coming together and offering a reward for tips leading to arrest, in fact, by the 9th of January 1986, the fund was sitting at $10,000, nothing new came in. With the Maurin case slowing down, you may be forgiven for thinking that the local PD would be left with time on their hands, but during research for this case, I found that from the early 1980s, they had been inundated with cases, with at least 10 cases of people going missing, being found murdered, or both, which included the Maurins.
Could any of them have been linked?
I'm not 100% sure, but some of them were linked to something else big going on in the area.
And you said that these two went missing, the two suspects.
Yeah, they're missing as well.
The plot thickens.
Honestly, it was crazy what was going on in the area. I'm going to give you some details now, and we'll try and update you all at the end of part 2 if I've got enough time. If not, you'll find information on our socials. So in chronological order, on March 1st, 1980, a 17-year-old Glenda Rylander went missing whilst hitchhiking from Glenoma in Lewis County. The body of Kimberly Ann Reams, a 27-year-old from Vancouver, was found in the Nisqually River just outside Lewis County on the 12th of June 1983. On the 10th of October 1983, Donna J. Hayes, a 54-year-old woman, went missing from Salcombe. Then, 31-year-old Monica Anderson from Tacoma's body was pulled out of the Shahali River on the 4th of August 1984. In the fall of 1984, 24-year-old Wendy Wilcox was abducted from her home state of Portland. This was hers during a robbery? I think hers was during a robbery. Yeah. Her body was found later that fall in Paxwood, and her cause of death was gunshot wounds to the head. Susan Kruger of Tacoma was 43-year-old when her body was found on May the 5th, 1985, and she was found 50 miles south of Shahali, just off Drews Prairie Road, with head injuries. Roberta Strasbo, who went by Dee, was found on the 19th of October 1985. She was beaten to death. She was from Grand Mound at the time of her death, and she was only 18. On the 12th of December 1985, 21-year-old Diana Robertson from, I don't know how to say this, Puyallup, I don't know, Puyallup. I was about to say up instead of P.
Puyallup.
Pew.
Pew.
No, you know you get those pui pui beans or something. I don't know.
Pui lentils, yeah.
Yeah, pui alup. I think it might be pui alup.
We'll go with that.
Went missing when she was in Tacoma, Pierce County, looking for a Christmas tree with her partner and little girl.
Oh.
Joanne Jirovic was a 48-year-old from Thurston County, and she was found shot to death inside her van in Lewis County on the 23rd of March 1986.
Oh, if you did a map with all those cases with the red dot, that would look like buckshot, you know, like...
It would. You'd need a lot of string.
Bloody horrible.
Now, though the Maurin's case was relegated to the cold case department at the beginning of the 90s, over the years it would be brought out and examined, like, over and over again. But with people unwilling to talk to investigators, there was no movement on it at all. That was until 2005. When there was a new lead investigator in town, and he, in my opinion, is a goddamn rock star.
You just changed your stance, the way you were
Shit's
sitting
about
and
to
everything.
get real, son.
Booyah.
He was only 10 when the Maurins were murdered, and I would like to introduce you to Detective Bruce Kimsey. Born in Lewis County, Bruce started his career in the military as a police officer before moving on to join the sheriff's office in Washington. And I really recommend, I've got an article about him, go and read it. It'll be in the references. After only 2 years in his role as detective, he was already known by his counterparts and superiors as an incredible investigator, demonstrating his abilities over the time between 2005, when he was handled the Maurins case, now considered cold, and 2012, when he worked and closed active cases. During this time, he worked on around 25 homicides, some cases of arson, sex crimes, and numerous burglaries, some of which I'm going to share with you to support my rockstar comment. In 2011, whilst also working on Ed and Minnie's case, he was instrumental in the conviction of John A. Booth Jr., the Unalaskan triple murderer. From a reading, Kimsey sounds like the kind of guy who can talk to anyone, putting them at ease easily, and he was also known for his attention to detail and his habit of not letting things go. And these are the skills that he used to basically nail John A. Booth Jr. And in 2011 again, when he met with a boy called Joshua Vance. So he did the same thing with both, and it's clever. So Joshua Vance had been charged with the murder of his father. He stabbed him to death while he slept. Vance was 25 and had been diagnosed with schizophrenia about 5 years before, and it seemed he was going to use this in order to claim insanity to make a plea deal. Unfortunately for him, Kimsey came along to interview him. Over a period of hours, Kimsey sat and chatted with Vance in a fairly chatty manner, often making jokes and being light-hearted, and it was this behaviour that got Vance to open up and totally quashed his insanity facade. He couldn't keep it up because he thought he was basically talking to a mate, and the same happened with John A. Booth Jr. Kimsey himself credits his emotional attachment to people and their cases for his string of successes. He's known to live and breathe the cases he works on until he's seen them through, no matter how long it takes. Trigger warning for this next case. According to one of my sources, when he was working on the double murders of brothers Conrad and Ricky Morales, aged 13 and 11 years old respectively, he carried their pictures in his wallet until the case was solved. I'm not going to go into the full details of the case today, but for those who may go and look into it, please take this as a trigger warning. What these boys went through was absolutely horrendous. From day dot, they hadn't stood a chance. They were let down by everyone. Their mother, who was a drug addict and dealer, and the services meant to be there to help children in these situations, such as their family, education providers and CPS. In 2005, Conrad and Ricky were sent to live in a mobile home in Randall, Washington, with their aunt and uncle, Raul and Cathy Lynn Sarinana, after their mother was jailed for an assault and drug offences. Unfortunately, they were unable to live with their father because authorities had deported him. First, Conrad was sent there before Rosa, this is the mother, Rosa suggested that the couple take Ricky too, as Conrad was getting on so well. Weirdly, when Rosa tried to get her boys back later in the year, she was told by Raul that there had been some sort of discipline issues with Conrad, so he'd been sent to stay with another relative. On Christmas Day 2005, police arrived on the property of Cathy and Raul, following a call from Cathy saying that she had found Ricky dead in his bed. She and Raul were promptly taken in for questioning, and it was found that Ricky had been physically assaulted many times since he had arrived. While the police were investigating what had really happened, this bit's horrid. They found poor Conrad in a dustbin encased in concrete. After an autopsy, he was found to have suffered the same amount of abuse as his younger brother, resulting in his murder at Raul's hands and feet sometime in August 2005, the 22nd if his killer is to be believed. Ricky, unlike most children on Christmas Day, had suffered an awful fate. Already telling his aunt and uncle that he felt unwell, he had been forced to clean the bathroom when he vomited after his Christmas dinner. Apparently, this was him being rude and ungrateful of what he'd been offered, and so he had to be punished. Later, when he took too long with the cleaning in the bathroom, Raul kicked and beat him, with Cathy helping. They did this repeatedly before sending him to bed, where he died alone and in agony. For the next 4 years, Kimsey and his team worked hard on building the case, and finally on the 2nd of July 2009, both Cathy and Raul were sentenced to death for the murder of Ricky, despite having killed both boys. For some reason, no charges for Conrad's death were ever filed, although it was evident that Raul had murdered him. I think perhaps nobody wanted to jinx things, you know, like they'd already got the death sentence, and that's like the high value.
Yeah, if they can secure what they need to.
Yeah, and what if they open it up to another case, and then that just gives them room for...
And it's also more work, more money, more... It's horrible because obviously they did kill both boys, but I do sometimes understand...
They're in jail forever.
Yeah.
And that's until they
well,
get...
are they...
They're still there. They've not been executed. So,
why
as I said...
Them? Why keep them? Why keep feeding
apparently
them?
She's the 16th woman on death row in Washington state as well. But I don't know... They get to appeal. Like, they get more... Well, people in prison get way more rights than the victims and the victims' families. It's horrible.
It is horrible. It's wrong.
So, as I said earlier, Kimsey is a effing rock star. And even though when he took over the Maurins case, forensically there was nothing that could help, and the locals still weren't talking, there was no prime suspects, there was nothing extra. He took what he had, added his incredible abilities and ran with it, and by July 2012 he had somebody in custody.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
But you're going to have to wait until our next episode to find who it was and what happened.
Dun dun dun.
So that was a long one.
That was, yeah. I was just thinking as well, it's another one of those people don't want to talk because they're afraid, and it's such a... I understand. I get it. If these people are going to threaten you and threaten your families, and they've done that, and you know that they've done that, I get why it's so hard, but
I just hope
horrendous.
that the next part will show people that if you do finally start talking, big things can happen.
Yeah.
We're going to go through the person who was taken into custody, who does face consequences.
Justice.
We're going to go back a little bit as well to fill in some of the bits and pieces we didn't already know. So that's what you've got to look forward to. And if I do have time, I'll do a little bit about... So I'll give you updates on the cases that I told you about, the missing and murdered.
Yeah, so much in that area.
Loads. And I was looking for a connection. And
Ethel.
Shot. I was looking for connections, wondering if person who inevitably, like we find out, has done it, if they'd done other things. But something came out that I was like, oh, I didn't know about this. There's a serial killer involved.
Okay.
In some of those cases. So.
Some of the women that were abandoned in the river and whatnot. Abandoned. Yeah.
Disposed of.
Yeah.
Just dumped. So. Not really sure what to say, but I hope I've gave you a good picture of who the Maurins were, and I hope you guys will be looking forward to the next episode. As I say, hopefully I'll have it out on the 21st. If I can get it out any earlier, I will. So if you could make sure you're following us and you have your notifications on wherever you listen, you'll get a little bing bong.
A little bing bong to let you know that part 2 is ready for your listening pleasure.
It will be.
That's, yeah. I'm intrigued. I want to know what happens next.
And honestly, this guy is just incredible. He thinks... I don't know if he thinks differently to other people, but he's just got this way about him from what I'm reading that just puts people at ease without using hypnosis.
What? Which guy?
This detective.
Oh, I was going to say. I thought you meant the suspect.
No. The suspect is a complete gobshite.
Okay. Yeah, Kimsey sounds...
He's amazing.
What? There's somebody in a film called Kimsey and I can't think who.
Well, maybe look that up. You could prep. This guy's like 6'4", I think. 6'4", and just laughs and jokes all the time.
Blackadder, I can't remember. I don't know.
Anywho, so we shall see you again just before Christmas on the 21st, if not sooner. I would like to thank you all for listening. Please follow us on socials.
interact, because we love that.
We do, and let us know any cases that you would like us to cover by emailing us at thecriminalcrack@gmail.com. In the subject line, if you could put which of us you would like to cover your case, it means that the other one won't open the email and ruin everything.
Yeah, we won't do that.
We
like the surprise as much as everybody else, so...
Well, not the surprise, but we like it to be something... Like, we like not to know when we sit down what we're about to hear about.
Well, no, I'm quite often surprised by what you say.
You're surprised by everything. You're surprised by what I say. I'm surprised by what you say quite a lot. That mouth opens and anything could come out.
That's true.
So, thank you very much for listening. Bye-bye.
Keep on trucking.
Bye.
Keep on trucking.